Hi, it's time for another weekly update. So this is right before Christmas time, so things are really busy, trying to get a lot done before the week where nothing happens, where everybody's shut down, it seems like. Though I'll probably be here pretty much all the time except Christmas Day. It's been really cold recently, and I've mentioned the insulation in our building before, not really just doing the job, it's not that adequate, and it's costing a lot to heat and cool. We got some quotes on having spray foam put in. It's unbelievably expensive. Not an option. Also would shut us down for a week, and we'd have to make sure everything is very tightly covered, or it would have a little coating of spray foam on it. So that's not going to work. Pretty much our only other option is to put like a foam board insulation up. Otherwise, we'd have to stud out the walls and put some kind of a grid in the ceiling to put regular fiberglass in and then hang wall. It would be very expensive and probably just not worth it in this building. So I've had a couple of insulation contractors come out to talk to me about this, and it made me think about customer service quite a bit because one wasn't really that helpful. The other looked around and said, I'm not going to do this. We've got new houses that we're building all the time. I'm booked 2 weeks out. I have no interest. And I said, well, I've got a business to run. I can't really take a week or two of my time, not run the business, and just put up the insulation myself. I said, do you have anybody that could do that? And he goes, no, nobody's going to do this job, and walked out. So that's not good customer service, and it's certainly not something that would make me ever recommend any of those people. Certainly when the economy does get hard, those people are going to have problems getting customers. And that's one of the things that I really try to focus on, is always being there for my customers. Whether it means answering messages at weird times, or going to a lab on short notice, or in the middle of the night if a piece of equipment's broken and if they're local. Just going the extra mile, I think, is really important. And that's something that I've been trying to impress upon the intern that's working with me here as well, is that, we strive for perfection and settle for excellence. We don't do things part way. Just because it's something that nobody's ever going to see, just because it's a little part that goes inside some assembly and nobody's ever going to look in there except us probably, that doesn't mean it can be poorly done. It needs to be perfect. It needs to be as close to perfect as we can get it anyway. So it's something that I've been on my mind a lot lately as I'm trying to tie up some of these projects before the new year. How can we get our customer service even better? How can we make everything we do absolutely excellent and amazing, so that it surprises folks when they open it up? Because if you do open something up, it always makes me a little sad when you see that corners were cut versus you open something up and see that it was actually well engineered. Somebody put a lot of thought into it. So with that, I want to show you something I've been working on recently, and then we've got a new addition to the shop this week, and hopefully have some more things coming soon. So here among this mess on this bench, this is the electric field meter that we're working on for the National Severe Storm Laboratory over in Norman, Oklahoma. And we're redesigning, we were supposed to be just redesigning the electronics, but as it turns out, we're going to have to redesign the mechanics of it too. And this is a semi-disposable instrument. It does go up on a weather balloon. It comes back down. There is tracking, but you can't always get it. Sometimes it lands somewhere not accessible. Military, lake, something like that. So this is one of those pieces where I was talking about nobody's ever going to see it, but it needs to be perfect. So this is an aluminum piece that I machined on the mill, and it is going inside this tube. It's secured with a screw, and then it's got some threads in there, and it's got a shoulder that rides on the inner race of that bearing. Nobody's probably ever going to see that, but we paid attention to detail. We still chamfered all the corners. We made it look really nice. We did a lot of drilling out of material for weight savings, since this is a balloon-borne instrument. But that's just another one of those things where, yeah, I made an extra one because I wasn't happy with the way the first one looked. Just trying to do the best we can. Also, since this is semi-disposable, I'm using as much 3D printed material as I can. So this is a bearing housing where the bearings get pressed in There's 2 bearings, one on each side, that will go over here, and then a shaft will come out, and we'll put these bearings under some preload that way. But this is one of those ways where we can help optimize the design, and it's much less expensive and also much more weight efficient to do this. And though it's a 3D printed part, it's still going to be fine for the very little load that it's under here. I've got a blog post coming on the website, probably out in the next couple days, about how should you manufacture your parts. Should you 3D print them? Should you injection mold them? Should you have them machined? Generally, I would say you should probably 3D print it first, even if it's not going to be usable because it's not structurally sound or some other reason, just to get a good hand feel of the part. 3D CAD's great, but you don't really know what it's going to feel like and how it's going to work until you've got one in your hand. As you can hear, our heater just came on. It's probably not quite above freezing yet. And so over here, we've got a bunch of boxes, and you'll notice this new table. So there's all the packing material. This table is a very, very sturdy 4x6 foot table that houses our new CNC router. So this CNC router is a Shapeoko. I didn't really have this on my radar as something that we would get very soon, because we've got a milling machine that's much more precise and much faster. So why would we want this? Well, we want it because I don't want to put wood in the milling machine particularly. Sure, it could do it, but it gets my coolant nasty, and I've got to clean it out of the machine, and it's a pain. I also don't want to put foam in there. And I have a foam project. That balloon instrument, most of the electronics are housed in foam, both for insulation and for protection, and because foam is light. So I need to machine quite a few foam pieces. And when we actually produce the production run of those instruments, I'm going to need a couple hundred pieces of foam cut with pockets in them, as well as their shape routed out. This really just seemed like the right tool for the job. And they're not horribly expensive. So this was under $2,000, and that's delivered. Built the table with my dad in a solid afternoon. He also helped me build the router. You can see you sign the nameplate there when you build it. Overall, this was a really fun little project, and I zip-tied a Sharpie to it last night before I left, and got it to draw its name. So I'll put some video of that at the end of this so you can see sort of what it looks like running. We haven't had the router fired up yet. I need to get an emergency stop button rigged up and wired in so that if something's going wrong, it's easily e-stoppable. Since it's more of a hobby grade machine, it doesn't come with something like that. Being a business and having to be cognizant of insurance and OSHA, that's something that I need to worry about. So the gantry moves around left to right, front to back, and then the router moves up and down. It's got 3 inches of vertical stroke and then a little less than 3 by 3 feet on the X and Y. So this is mainly for wood, plastics, that kind of thing. It can do metal, but unless it's a low tolerance part that's large, I don't really have a reason to do that here. That's why I have the mill that's much, much faster and much more rigid. But it'll also open up a couple of wood projects that I would like to do, and some customers have asked me to do. Now that it's here, it'll be quite doable. Built the table a little long so we can put a computer over here and easily have control of the machine without having to depend on a laptop. This also ties into the customer service story a little bit. The assembly instructions for this were absolutely horrible. The first step was to inventory all the parts, and it would say, okay, in this box, these are the things that you should have, and we didn't have that. The paper in the box said, in this box, these are the things that you should have, and we had all of that. So the website instructions were grossly out of sync with the actual packing list. The order of assembly was pretty wild, and there are some things like sticking cable chains down with VHB tape, which is very high bond tape. It's just not going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and drill and tap those holes myself into that. That's not something that the average maker would probably have on hand, or the right tap drills and the right taps to do that. But that's what we do, is machine parts. So I have all of that here. But it was just very disappointing in terms of the instructions. The build quality is fantastic. Assembly they claimed 2 hours. It took us more like 3 and change to do. The cable management is a little crufty on this. It's not terrible, though. Cable management's hard. I understand that, and this is a budget machine, as I mentioned, so I didn't expect it to be perfect. But lots of things like, these switches were supposed to be pre-mounted to brackets, and they weren't, and there were no pictures, so we had to figure out how that had to work. But it's got 2 motors on the Y, 1 motor on the X, and 1 motor on the Z. The control software seems pretty easy to use, so I don't think that's going to be a big problem. But I've still got a little bit more work to do getting this finally leveled and getting a computer set up on here. And as I mentioned, getting some wiring done before we can start using it to cut our foam parts, though hopefully that will happen within the next couple days. We've also got a project coming up where we might be getting some other equipment to maybe do some overmolding and molding. And we might be trying to upgrade our pick and place capability as well. So lots of exciting things happening, lots of projects going on, which is always good. But I'm really looking forward to see what new projects 2020 brings in. I've got a meeting later today about some projects. I just went to a local university and talked to them about helping them upgrade some of their equipment. And that was yet another customer service story of, we can't get the manufacturer to help us, but I showed up and said, what can I do to help out? And I think that's going to result in a good relationship. So really just trying to go above and beyond for customers has been the theme of the week for me. And doing whatever we need to as a business to make sure we have the capabilities so when somebody walks in the door and says, I need this made, or we need help doing this, that we've got the equipment to do it. I've toyed with the idea of changing the business name slightly to be Lehman Manufacturing, but we've already got so much in the Lehman Geophysical brand name, the website, the signage, the promo materials. I think we'll probably stick with that, but I really want to sort of broaden our definition of what we do to be small-scale manufacturing, small to mid-scale manufacturing even, with getting the CNC set up, hopefully getting some molding capability set up, more pick and place capability. That's really what we want to do, is not only do custom scientific instruments, but help take something where you can make 1 or 2 easily and scale it to making 50 or 100 or 500 or 1,000 easily. And that's not necessarily saying for consumer products, but even scientific instruments. We built 50 of those georods. It looks like we're going to be building some more of those. And the manufacturability of those was not great. So that's something that we're going to be working on improving. We've talked with some folks about a volcanic gas instrument that right now it works fantastic, but it takes them about a day to make each one. And working with them on how can we redesign it to be more manufacturable. So providing those services is something that we're trying to expand into, again, just to help our customers get to where they need to be, because they don't want to do the engineering. They don't want to do the manufacturing. They just want to be able to collect their data. And that's our end goal, right? It says we help scientists, educators, and engineers collect and utilize their data. So that's sort of our whole mission. But anyway, enough going on about that. This video's already gotten a little longer than I anticipated, but that is the weekly update for this week. We'll be back next week, a short week with the holiday in there, with some more results, and hopefully have this thing running and cutting parts. So thanks, and we'll see you next week.